Have you ever logged out of an application only to find that you still have access? It's frustrating, right? If that's you, then you're in the right place. Today, we're tackling how to properly invalidate a Flask-JWT token on Logout. I understand how annoying it can be when you think you're logged out, but you still have access to sensitive routes. You're definitely not alone in this. Many developers face this issue when working with token-based authentication. Here's the specific situation we're looking at. One user recently asked, "I have generated a Flask-JWT token for user authentication, but on logout, I want to invalidate the token. Now it's allowing access to routes after logout." Sound familiar? Let's dig into this together and find a solution. So what could be causing this? When you log out, the token should ideally be invalidated to prevent further access. This often happens if the token is not properly marked as invalid in your database or session. We'll break it down step by step so you can fix it. And don't go anywhere. I've got a crucial tip at the end that will help you manage user sessions more effectively. To invalidate the Flask-JWT token upon logout, the user should first ensure that the logout route is properly set up. This involves marking the user as unauthenticated in the database. Next, the user needs to modify the authentication logic to check if the user is authenticated before allowing access to protected routes. This ensures that once the user logs out, they cannot access these routes. Additionally, the user should consider implementing a token blacklist. This can be done by storing invalidated tokens in a database or in-memory store, which can be checked during authentication. Finally, the user should ensure that the token blacklist is checked during the authentication process. This will prevent any blacklisted tokens from being accepted. Did you know? The concept of user authentication dates back to the early days of computing, where passwords were the primary means of securing access. We've come a long way, but some issues still persist. Now, let's look at the answers provided by other users. This user suggests that to invalidate a JWT token, you should implement a blacklist system. This involves storing the token in a database and checking it against this list in your routes. Alternatively, you can delete the token from the client side, forcing the client to generate a new token. They also mention that putting constraints in the token payload is not advisable. Instead, consider using other token generation methods like Hawk, which saves tokens in a database. On logout, you can simply delete the token. Lastly, if you want to log out a user from all devices, keep a user-specific secret key in the database. By assigning a new secret key when the user logs out, you can invalidate all existing tokens. Now, let's see a response from a different user. An alternative approach to invalidating Flask-JWT tokens on logout involves using a blacklist. This method requires storing blacklisted tokens in a database until they expire. Additionally, it's recommended to set a short validity period for the JWT tokens, such as 30 minutes, to ensure they are quickly invalidated. Let's move forward and look at another answer. An alternative approach suggested by a user involves storing the JWT token in the user model when generating it. This way, you can compare the incoming token with the stored token during verification. For logout, simply set the JWT token field to none. This ensures that the stored token no longer matches the incoming token, effectively invalidating it. Here's the crucial tip I promised. Always validate user sessions on the server side. This simple practice can save you from potential security breaches. And there you have it. Your Flask-JWT token should now be properly invalidated on logout. Remember, keeping your authentication flow secure is key. If you found this helpful, hit the subscribe button for more tips. And don't miss our bonus tip on enhancing your application's security.